Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Devi Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Devi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya 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 Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Devi Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinde Jaya Vrinde Jaya Vrinde Jaya Vrinde Gaur Premanande Hare Hare Gaur Vrindaya Tulsi Devaya Priyaye Kesava Saja Krishna Bhakti Prai Devi Satyavati Ay Namo Namaha Vrindaya Tulsi Devaya Priyaye Kesava Saja Krishna Bhakti Prai Devi Satyavati Ay Namo Namaha Vrindaya Tulsi Devaya Priyaye Kesava Sacha Krishna Bhakti Pradi Devi Satyavati Ay Namo Namaha Shrimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai fallen conditioned souls.
Good morning, dear devotees. It's the first time my voice is coming out, so hopefully this water will get it back and visible, audible. So today we are continuing our study of the glorious Srimad Bhagavatam. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10, chapter 54, verse number 50. It's another exciting verse, and there are many things for us to learn from it. So we'll start first singing Jai Radha Madhava and then continue. The voice will return in a minute. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadi Hari Yasodhanandana Prajajanaranjana Yasodhanandana Prajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Anuchari Yamuna Tira Anuchari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadi Hari Yasodhanandana Prajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Manachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gora, Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora, Haribo. Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Siddhate. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Papagacharyostu Tathasata Shishmat. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Papagacharyostu Tathasata Shishmat. His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrindi Ki Jai. Nam Acharya Suridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindi Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavana Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Shri Gokul Dham Ki Jai. Shri Dwarka Dham Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Swami Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Shri Mati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrindi Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashrashatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are continuing our study of the glorious Srimad Bhagavatam, text number, canto number 10, chapter number 54, and we're near the end, text number 50. Shri Sukuvacha Evam Bhagavatat Tanvi Ramena Pratibodhita Vaiman Ashyam Parichaja Mano Buddha Samadhe. Shri Sukuvacha Evam Bhagavatat Tanvi Ramena Pratibodhita Vamanashyam Parichaja Mano Buddha Samadhe. Shri Sukuvacha Evam Bhagavata Tanvi Ramena pratibodhita Vaimanasham parityaja Manobhuja samadade. Devotees, Shri Sukovacha Evam Bhagavatam Tanvi Ramena Pratibodhita Vaimanasham parityaja Manobhuja samadade. Shri Sukovacha Evam Bhagavata Tanvi Ramena Pratibodhita Vaimanasyam parityaja Manobhuja samadade. Anyone else? Word for word. Sri Sukadeva Uvacha. Sukadeva Goswami said, Evam, thus, Bhagavata, by the Supreme Lord, Tanvi, slender-waisted Rukmini, Ramena, by Balaram, Patibodhita, enlightened, Vamanashyam, her depression, Parityaja, giving up, Manaha, her mind, Puja, by intelligence, Samadhi, composed. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami said, thus enlightened by Lord Balaram, slender Rukmini forgot her depression and steadied her mind by spiritual intelligence. So you can repeat. Sukadeva Goswami said, thus enlightened by Lord Balaram, slender Rukmini forgot her depression and steadied her mind by spiritual intelligence. So there's no purport, but we're going to read the commentaries here, and then we'll speak some. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, quote, what will people say about me giving up this depression? Vaimanashayam, she collected herself. Jiva Goswami. Rukmini responded accordingly. Since she is by her nature the form of the great Chit Shakti, she's eternally intelligent. Because of that relationship, she can enlighten even Shankarshan. Thus her enlightenment, Pratibodhita by Balaram, was an exchange with him, a response like an echo. Sanatana Goswami says, she was thin, Tanvi, because of lamentation, or a thin waist indicated her great beauty. His words enlightened her, otherwise should not be beautiful. Lamentation would destroy her beauty. She was taught directly, Patibodhitaha, because Balaram was omniscient. Bhagavata, knowing the intention of Krishna. Ramana means by he who gives happiness. She concentrated her mind constantly on Krishna and Prema, Samadhi. Om Agina Timirandasya Gina Gina Shalakaya Chaksu Militanyana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Offer my respectful obeisances unto my Shiksha Guru, my Diksha Guru, unto Srila Prabhupada, and all the sincere Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, those that are present here, and those that are virtually present. So I was happy to get to speak this verse because I'm preparing for a class that I had been asked to fill in for on Madhurya Rasa, and we understand that Rukmini represents a certain type of Madhurya Rasa. She is the expansion of Chandravalli, who are the right-hand gopis, and she is the first queen of Krishna. So there are some points I wanted to go over here to begin with. Here it's talking about how she was enlightened by Lord Balaram for her depression and steadied her mind by spiritual intelligence. So we know that Rukmini is the goddess of fortune. She's never under the illusory energy. But the Lord's pastimes, especially in the human-like form, teach us many different lessons that we can apply in our own life. So the first point that came to me was how Balaram is shown as being the spiritual master, that Rukmini is feeling lamentation. In one of the previous classes, it was expressed like how Arjuna appeared to be lamenting for his family, and then Lord Krishna spoke to him and relieved him of his anxiety. So in the same way, although Rukmini can never be under any kind of illusion, it appears that she's depressed over bodily attachment for her brother. And Balaram, who is the Akanda Guru, is taking the position of speaking philosophically to her, removing her remorse, removing her depression, so she can remember what her position is. Now, the first thing that I meditated upon, actually, when I read this, was that there are two types of lamentation: spiritual lamentation and material lamentation. So in the previous verses we read, when Rukmini was waiting for Krishna to come and to rescue her, she had already sent the message with the Brahmana. And so when she was waiting for Krishna to come, and she hadn't heard yet from the Brahmana, she was feeling a lot of anxiety. What if Krishna doesn't come? What if I have to marry Shishupal? So she was lamenting, going through all kinds of anxiety. But that anxiety was purifying. That anxiety was spiritual. It was bringing her closer to Krishna. It was lamenting. So in our own devotional life, there's that kind of lamentation where, I would like to be a devotee of Krishna, but I'm still, here in the mud. Like, when will I be like a lotus flower instead of just sinking into the mud? So that lamentation is an example is given for us that to lament and cry out for Krishna, like Gaur Govinda Maharaj said, this is a crying school, that we learn to cry for Krishna. Ai Nanda Tanujana, and I have fallen in this ocean. Please, Krishna, pick me up. So that kind of lamentation was not anything to be preached out of, but it was something to be relished as her love, her devotion. And because she was calling out to Krishna, because she was desiring him so much, Krishna heard that, and he's obliged to come to the call of his devotees. Krishna is obliged to reciprocate. So Rukmini, she had never seen Krishna. She'd only heard about him. She'd only heard about Krishna's qualities. And she took those into her heart, and she wanted Krishna. And so because of her hearing about Krishna, because of her prayers to Krishna, her heartfelt desire, Krishna was obliged to come. Krishna came under her control. But it's explained that Krishna does not always come under the control of the queens of Vrindavan. He's always under control of Srimati Radharani, because Srimati Radharani has no other desire except to give happiness to Krishna. She has no other means. But in the future, Rukmini will have children, and she'll be concerned about her children, or so many different things will happen. So sometimes Krishna will be under her control when she's just thinking his pleasure, and other times when she's pulled in other different directions, it's a different experience. But here, she's just focused on Krishna, and Krishna is going to reciprocate with her in a very beautiful way. Now, the pastime is here that she's lamenting over her brother Rukmi. Now, I also looked into this. I actually wrote my Diksha Guru, Hridayananda Maharaj, asking him, is there some previous history of Rukmini? Like, we know that Kamsa are different demons. We know who they were in a previous life and what they were doing. He said that because he had translated that, he said at this point he wasn't remembering it, he hadn't seen it. But whether Rukmi was a big demon or not, one of the demons that was sent to take over the earth, by his behavior, according to Bhagavad Gita, we can see that he was brash, arrogant, and animosity towards Krishna. And that animosity ultimately will lead to his own demise. So why was Rukmini lamenting for her brother? And that also is another point that we have to look at, which is being presented in these human-like pastimes, is that in the traditional culture, the older brother played a big role in the family. You just didn't go against the older brother. Even like in the Chinese culture, wasn't it, Mahatma? The older brother in the family was like the one who made the decisions. Because I remember your brother, Lalita Krishna, he was the older brother, and he felt that he was the older brother, and what he said would go, because that was traditional culture. So in the Indian, genre, in the Indian culture, actually, especially in that time, the older brother made the decisions. And that's why we also heard that how when Lakshman was so upset that he was sent to to drop Sita off, he didn't want to ever take birth as a younger brother again. So he comes as Balaram, the older brother. So here Balaram is appeasing her. Don't lament over the body, and this is just temporary, helping her to wake up. So her lamentation was for her brother, her older brother, who she felt had really loved her and was making these decisions. And we see this plays out a lot in the past times. Prahlad Maharaj was a great devotee of the Lord, but he took birth in a family of demons. So sometimes a great devotee can appear in a family of demons, and sometimes a demon can appear in the great devotee's family, or someone with obnoxious qualities can appear. So we see Rukmi he's just obnoxious. Because in chapter 61, we'll see how he was so rude. He becomes so rude to Balaram. And even though Balaram actually had saved his life, he had no gratitude. So this is he had this envious nature. And Rukmini, being her older brother, felt he loves me. He just wanted me to be happy, and she couldn't bear on her wedding day. At the same time, we see, like in Krishna's pastime, his appearance pastime, that on his Devaki's wedding day, her own brother Kamsa was going to slay her head because of his own, what he thought was safety. So this is a theme that plays out a lot. And even we see, like in Ram's pastimes, that Ravana's brother ends up going and joining on the side of Ram. Even though the monkeys were like, don't trust him. He went and took shelter of Ram. And we see this playing out time and time again, how Dhritarashtra was so influenced by his son Duryodhana, who was the oldest. So here we see Rukmini playing the part of a woman was feeling lamentation over her brother, and then that was quickly removed. Balaram was a mediator. He had kept her brother from being killed on her wedding day. And later on, his mood changed, but that's That's chapter 61. So this is important points here. At the same time that we understand that there's a purpose for these leelas, these human-like leelas, because they also set an example for us. Rukmini sets the example of the importance of hearing and chanting about the Lord, that by glorifying Krishna, by remembering his pastimes, we'll develop a natural attraction for him. And the more we become attracted, the more we'll want to serve. So who is Rukmini? She is a goddess of fortune. And could Shishupal have ever gone near her? No. Because Shishupal, well, actually Shishupal is a whole different story. You know, it's another birth he's taking, and he's actually a devotee disguised as a demon. But for practical purposes, one who is demoniac can never touch the goddess of fortune. Just like Ram, when Sita was stolen, it was a Maya Sita. The real Sita could never have been kidnapped by Ravana. So the real goddess of fortune could never have been taken by Shishupal. It's impossible. And the same way in our own life, through our material intelligence, our material logic and reason, we cannot really enter into the spiritual abode. But at the same time, as long as we're not on that platform, we have to develop, as they were speaking in class, Marge was speaking yesterday, we have to learn how to use spiritual intelligence and develop our intelligence and develop our knowledge to bring us to a steady platform in devotional service so that we can practice and move forward. So the original, we know that Krishna is the original. Everything comes from him. He's Satyananda Vigraha. But Krishna also has some desire to enjoy loving relationships. So in the spiritual world, in Goloka, one day Krishna was there alone, and he was thinking how nice it would be to enjoy. So Krishna's pleasure potency is called Ladini. So when Krishna is enjoying within himself his own swarup, that's one kind of pleasure. But when Krishna desires to enjoy externally, that desire manifests externally. So it's explained that when Krishna had this desire, Radharani appeared from the left side, and Lord Shiva appeared from the right. And then there was two. There's just one, but then Radharani comes, and she is Radha. She who gives pleasure to Krishna. That's her whole purpose, is to give pleasure and joy. She has no other purpose to fulfill. And so that Radha expands into the different gopis, those that are the eternal servants. And what is their purpose? The other gopis are actually Radha. There are gopis that come through sadhana, but the ones that are the prime ones, they're expansions of Radha. And they're just to be able to manifest what are her different moods, what are her different desires, but everyone is focused on how to please Krishna. So there are those Sakis that are in Radharani's group, like Lalita, Vishaka. And then there are those that are in what's called the opposing group, which are headed by Chandravali, like Padma and different ones. So it appears that they're always in controversy. Actually, they're all an expansion of Srimati Radharani. And it adds spice. So that Chandravali came in the form of Rukmini. When Krishna left Vrindavan, the gopis expanded into the queens. And it's the queens that marry Krishna. but they're expansions. Like Rukmini is an expansion of Chandravali. Satyabhama is an expansion of Radharani. And so the pastimes are going on, but the highest experience of this love, of prem, is the original, which is Radharani. And her love is so strong that it spreads out everywhere. It affects everyone. And then the gopis, they also experience, but not to the same degree. Then the residents of Dwarka, the queens of Dwarka, they have prem, but they also have what's called the Aishwarya concept. Like when Rukmini was praying, there's a time when she prayed to Krishna as the Supreme Lord. So they're aware of Krishna's position, where the residents of Vrindavan, they're not aware of Krishna's position. So their love is stronger in that way. Their prema is stronger in that way. And then expanding from the queens of Dwarka are the Lakshmis on all the different planets. So all of these are actually the original expansion. So here we see Rukmini will have the position of being being Krishna's first wife. And this is a very special position that she will hold. And we'll see that there will be so many pastimes that will take place in Dwarka and with Rukmini, and we'll be reading about those. So it's always very important when we hear these pastimes to also remember who these personalities are and what is our tradition as Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to distribute not only the Sankirtan movement to externally enliven all the souls and give the holy name, but he came to relish the beauty and the mood of the love of Radharani, and through the chanting of the holy name. And so those of us that are Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we have a very direct connection to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. We're very dependent upon them for our devotional life. And our goal is focused towards Vrindavan. So traditionally, if one does deity worship or different services, they can be elevated to Vaikuntha through Vaidhi Bhakti. So we start out with Vaidhi Bhakti, learning the rules and the regulations, but ultimately by the association of the pure devotees and by hearing and chanting, we're meant to come to the point of Raganuga, where we are following in the footsteps of the devotees of Vrindavan. And that is the example that is given to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Krishna himself, Radha and Krishna, but he took shelter of his spiritual master, Ishwara Puri. And Ishwara Puri was the disciple of Madhavendra Puri. So Madhavendra Puri was of the Madhava Sampradaya. And up until that point, this conjugal love was not known widespread. But Madhavendra Puri, he was so overwhelmed with pure love, ecstatic symptoms, that whoever he met was affected. He met Nityananda, everybody was just affected. And it was it's given the example by contact with him that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu received so much mercy through Ishwara Puri. So we are coming in that particular line, and it is always very important for us to offer complete respects unto our lineage and unto our previous acharyas, our predecessors, and to render some humble service. In the pastime of Madhavendra Puri, he had two disciples, Ishwara Puri and Ramachandra Puri. And when he was getting ready to leave his body, Ramachandra Puri started preaching to him, why are you lamenting? Because he was lamenting, Ayinanda, why have I not obtained Mathura? I'm leaving my body, I have not attained Krishna. So he was lamenting, and then Ramachandra Puri started preaching Mayavadi philosophy to him. You should meditate on the Brahman. Why are you lamenting? Madhavendra Puri became so angry. I'm leaving my body now. I haven't obtained Krishna. And then I have to hear from you. He was so angry that he chastised him. He sent him away, rejected him completely. And on the other hand, his other disciple, Ishwara Puri, who was just humbly serving him, would come, and every day he would sing the glories of Radha and Krishna. He would sing the glories of Krishna. And so in that way, he received the mercy. He received the mercy of Madhavendra Puri. And he became such a great devotee that he was the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya. So I was reading yesterday how in the book of the saints that whenever the Lord is going to come, he sends his associates ahead, his seniors. So Madhavendra Puri, Nityananda, Advaita Charya, all these personalities were sent ahead to make way for the coming of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is just a brief overview. And what are the lessons? One lesson we see is that when Rukmini was lamenting, will Krishna come and save me, and wanting to just serve Krishna, that was spiritual and was bringing her closer. And when she was lamenting over her brother, which was family attachment, being attached to someone who wasn't worthy of her affection, then Balaram had to wake up, wake up. He took the position as the guru. So it's also teaching us that we have to discriminate that which is material, that which is spiritual, and that we need the help of Lord Balaram to give us spiritual strength. We need the help of the spiritual master to help us through these difficulties as they come. And the importance of taking to one of the processes of devotional service through hearing and chanting, coming closer, and avoiding offenses, not seeing the spiritual master with ritual vision, but offering humble service, and offering respects to all the residents of Vrindavan, all the devotees of the Lord, and aspiring for their mercy. So this is a very heroic pastime. Krishna kidnapping Rukmini, taking her on his chariot. And what seems very gory and horrible to us is somehow this was Kshatriya culture. There was always a fight over the bride, and people would be killed along the way, and so many things would happen. And here everybody becomes very, very happy when Rukmini enters into the city with Krishna. And there's a beautiful wedding, and even her father comes, and everybody really wanted Rukmini to marry Krishna because she is the goddess of fortune. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share. Oh my God, it's the end. Somehow or other that clock is a little bit different. What? Yeah, I was going to leave a minute, but the clock was different. Trying to be timely. Yeah, there's only a half hour for class by the time you sing, and
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvantam Aravindanalaya Taksham Bharavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Nishesha Shobham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami 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 Govindam.
Shri Govinda Govinata Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Madhava Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Keshigata Vamshibata Dvarashakanan Kadavam Sivaka Jahasavalila Koilo Shri Nandanandan Shri Nanda Jashoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Nanda Jashoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Shridamadi Jaya Jaya Denuvatsagan Jaya Prishamanu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Virnagari Purnamasi Jaya Virnagari Jaya Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavanamad Jaya 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 Krishna Saka Batu Dvijaraj Jaya Ramagata Jaya Rohini Nandan Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jata Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jaya Dvija Patni Jaya Naga Kanyagan Bhakti Tejahara Pailo Govinda Charan Jayahara Pailo Govinda Charan Shri Rasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Radha Shyam Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarva Manoram Jaya Jaya Jwala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sar Parakiya Bhave Jah Brajate Prachar Srijanapada Padma Koriya Smaran Dina Krishna Dasa Koe Nama Sankirtan Krishna Dasa Koe Dina Krishna Dasa Koe Nama Sankirtan Krishna Dasa Koe Nama Sankirtan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Radhe Jaya Krishna Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan Govinda Gopinatha Madana Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Jai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaura, Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana. Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari Sachinandana Gaura Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Shri Radhe. Jai Nityadeva Vishnu Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Stota Sutta Shri Shrimad's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityadeva Vishnu Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Stota Sutta Shri Shrimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki. Seko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dhama Ki Shri Mayapur Navadvitam Ki Shri Gangamai Jamunamai Ki Shri Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Priya Madanga Transcendental Bhakti Shri Ki Prasadam Sankirtan Ki Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Radha and Krishna and the divine forest of Vrindavan. All glories to the presiding deities of Vrindavan. Shri Govinda Gopinath and Madana Mohan. All glories to Shamakunda Radhakunda Govardhan Hill and the Yamuna River Kalindi. All glories to the great forest known as Vrindavan. All glories to the Vamsi Vata tree and the 12 forests of Vraja. At these places the son of Nanda, Sri Krishna, performed all of his pastimes. All glories to Krishna's divine father and mother, Nanda and Yashoda. All glories to the cowherd boys headed by Sudama. All glories to the cows and calves of Vraja. All glories to Radha's divine father and mother, Vrishabhanu, and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Purnamasi, the mother of Sandipuni. All glories to the young cowherd maidens of Vraja. All glories to Gopishwara Shiva, who resides in Vrindavan in order to protect the holy Dham. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmana friend, Madhu Mangala. All glories to Ramagata, where Lord Balaram performed his rasa dance. All glories to Lord Balaram, the son of Rohini. All glories to all of the residents of Vrindavan. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of the Kaliya serpent. Through pure devotion they all obtained the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where the rasa dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shyam. All glories to the divine rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all Lord Krishna's pastime. All glories to the mellow of conjugal love.